Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter, and we just got a brand new issue of Famitsu with 14 pages of Monster Hunter World goodness. I'm going to warn you guys right now, there's not a lot of whole new reveals in this video, so if you've already been keeping up with all the stuff and info, maybe there's not going to be a lot of new stuff, but if you haven't, or if you just want to watch the really nice new renders and screenshots that they've shared and get a nice recap of the recent information and some story stuff, then come around and stick around and let's have some fun. Okay, so let's jump in. This is the very first page. We get some really nice lore about the characters and the guild, which of course was featured in its latest trailer, The Third Fleet, which I hope you guys have seen already. This of course is our commander, who's very calm, and apparently he can't hunt so much, so he's got this guy over here who sort of acts as his hunter. But he is our fearless leader, and he is actually the leader of the First Fleet, which came to the new continent some 40 years ago. And basically they show off the flag, which is really nice, and they talk about the fact that all the people in the First Fleet were sort of like the all-rounder, adventurer type of people. They had a wide range of skills, they were definitely apt for survival, and they had to be, right? I mean, they were going to a new continent where they had never been before, who knows what they would run into, so they're all very eccentric to certain degrees, and they're very skilled people. Most of them have already gone home, obviously it's been 40 years already, but some still remain, including him. Then over here on the right side, we're covering the other First Fleet members. First one we run into is the Swordmaster, and if you notice, he's actually wearing Blade Master armor, which doesn't exist anymore. In the world of Monster Hunter World, they've figured out how to make armor that works for both Gunners and Blade Masters. That is to say, obviously a ranged weapon and a melee weapon. But this is an old hunter for 40 years ago. They didn't have that tech back then, so he doesn't really get new stuff. He can't wrap his head around it. He's an old timer, so he sticks with his Blade Master Rathian armor, and he is just a really powerful hunter. So that's going to be cool to see him pop in, and we're going to see what he's up to. Then we also have the Field Master. They're not actually giving her a name except Field Master. She's the one who's obviously down in the Rotten Vale all alone, which is crazy. Very headstrong, very skilled, very knowledgeable woman who is doing both a lot of surveys and research down in the Rotten Vale. She sort of becomes a buddy with your team, and you sort of move around with her as you go through the story. She obviously is sort of like the old timer who really has a scientific mind, so she sort of has a hunch at what's going on around the world more than anybody else, probably. Down here we actually have the chef. This is that huge feline that's the head chef in Astera, your main town. Apparently it was actually a Palico back in the First Fleet, but after it retired it learned how to cook and is now the main chef of the new continent. So very happy to see that this is actually used to be a hunter cat but is now a chef. And we get this dude who is a Wyverian hunter. Now if you know the lore of Monster Hunter, Wyverians are traditionally not hunters, so this is very rare. And being a Wyverian, think of it sort of like a Jedi in a way. He's got Ultra Sense. He's more privy to stuff that most people aren't. So he's gone off to look into something and he hasn't come back. Obviously we're going to run into him as we go through the story, but he plays a very key role. Okay, let's move on to the next page. Okay, next page we're covering this Second Fleet and the Third Fleet. Second Fleet is this really sort of like strong dude over here. So the Second Fleet was all about sending in for the mission, sending in all the technicians. So we're talking about like real fearless people who don't care about how things have been done in the past. They only care about creating new stuff and forging new lands, and they're not afraid to use their skills. We've got engineers, we've got blacksmiths, we've got construction people. That is what the Second Fleet is all about, which is why their insignia is that of the flame, which is to create. We have this very personality type of guy over here. This is the leader of the Second Fleet, and obviously he plays a key role in the story. We even saw him in the trailer recently, and he's going to help us out with forging new stuff like armor and who knows what else. And then for the Third Fleet we have what looks like a Wyverian. She's got the long ears and some very prickly little toes over here and 4 fingers, which of course is the sign of a Wyverian. They don't actually mention Wyverian down here though, so I'm going to mention that right now. This is just me guessing. But she is the head of the Third Fleet. The Third Fleet was sending in all the researchers. It actually says that 90% of the Third Fleet were all scholars. So these are the people that did like research, did botanical research in the farming and the researching of stuff. So these are the thinkers, and their insignia here is kind of like the vase of knowledge, right? Pretty interesting. One fun little note down here is they're talking about the ability to downgrade a weapon back to another branch. And it does cost money, they warn, but then they say it's 10 zenny, which is like... it's like paying like 5 cents or something, right, to do it. So it's kind of like a token of appreciation for the task. Here we go. We actually got the 3rd Fleet base. So this is an actual area you're going to be able to visit in the game. For some reason or not, they were traveling because they were managed to hook up air balloons, and they were traveling. They ran into something. I'm going to guess it's near Gigante, but who knows? And they had to sort of run away on the top of the Coral Highlands, and now they're stationed there and they're doing their research. Down here, they're just talking about how in their 3rd Fleet boat, they actually have a place where only the prowlers, or not prowlers, see, this is how much I love Generations, where all the palicos gather, and they just make a joke that maybe they're talking bad-mouthing our hunters. Should be really cute here. I'm going to look forward to taking a lot of screenshots of all the different palicos down here. They even mentioned down here that even Monster Hunter World, just like the past games, it's going to be very, very easy to create palico armor and weapons out of materials that you get from monsters. So it's not really a chore, it's more about just creating a bunch of them and dressing them however you want. So I'm very happy to hear that they're not going to make that a hurdle this time. It's going to be very easy and fun to customize your kitty cat. Then they also talk about, the 3rd Fleet actually represents a lot of the research roles. For example, we have the research guy here, so like if you capture a monster and they look into its weak points and drop items, and also the botanist, I believe that's the right word, for the people who's doing the flowers and farms. These are all from the 3rd Fleet, which is the scholars. Now, the 3rd Fleet being the scholars, you kind of already got a hunch that the 4th Fleet, who's here on this left side with this nice little sort of navigation wheel here, were the hunters. So they sent in a huge group of both hunters and scouts and people who are just really good at management and organized missions to sort of, try to make things go a little bit faster. Because, I mean, it's been 30 years they've been researching stuff on the new continent, and they still haven't reached a conclusion. So, come on now. So we have this pretty cute hunter over here. She is the research leader. We've got another leader who's a Wyverian, he's the research leader. She's sort of the, how would you call it, the research inventory leader? And he is the technical leader here. He might be Wyverian as well. He only seems to have 4 fingers as well. But these are the basic hunters. These are the things like if you talk to them, they'll give you quests. You'll do them and you'll be able to upgrade your, like your item shops and all those types of things that you normally do as a hunter. So these are going to be some pivotal characters that you're going to be interacting as you sort of, clear quests and progress and sort of, upgrade Astera or your town. Then over here we have the 5th Fleet, which of course we belong to. So proud! And in the 5th Fleet, it's pretty much a buddy system. It's one hunter and another hunter sort of research scholar type of personality. So these two are a team the same way that you and the handler are a team. And they are, just really energetic, sort of, like your buddies, right? Like they're in the same fleet. They're young, they're energetic, they're smart, they're powerful, so you're going to be interacting with these guys quite a bit. The 5th Fleet is actually the largest fleet they've ever sent to the new continent ever. It includes mostly hunters, and they want to sort of invigorate the investigation and hopefully tie up all the loose ends and discover the mystery of the crossing of the Elder Dragons and what's really going on. So, of course, we know this is Monster Hunter 5, or, like World. We know that we're going to be the final fleet that finally ends it all. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a game ending, right? Okay, on this next 2 pages, they cover some of the systems which you probably already know about, but it is nice to see the UI and the way it's going to work. And we talk about the research sort of management center. And so she's going to be really pivotal in that when you get a lot of bounties, or you get quests, or you have to deliver items from villager requests, you're going to do it all here. And this is going to be your main way of sort of expanding your quest roster and also upgrading, all the different facilities that you have back at base. They did mention down here we do have the returning Lavasioth and Uragan. They're going to be very cool. It's going to be interesting to see all the new moves and stuff that they give them and also how they interact with all the other new monsters. Can't wait. And they do talk about the things that you can do at this research sort of facility here is you can register bounties, which we'll go over in a second. You can also manage your research quests, which we'll talk about, and also deliver items that villagers or, I guess, fleet members will ask you to deliver, which are pivotal for like increasing the amount of ingredients you have at the kitchen and just sort of buffing up your resources. So over here on the right side, we talk about bounties. Now, bounty is a very interesting system I'm super interested in because, as you know, there's a free mode where you can just run around the ancient forest or any other map, just hunt monsters, interact with NPCs, and you might actually run into NPCs that give you bounties. Bounties are the way that you get research points for upgrading your facilities back at town, and also they talk about the armor spheres, which of course in Monster Hunter is the item that you need to upgrade your armor so you have higher defense. So you're going to want to do bounties. So you run into people all throughout the game. It could be her, it could be someone on the field, it could be anybody who gives you a bounty. You can register it up to here, and you can register, it says down here, up to 6. So you can register up to 6 bounties, and a bounty isn't really a quest. It's just a challenge, like kill this monster, find this item, craft this item, do stuff like that, break this monster's part. So these are things you can have 6 active at a time, and you can just go on your quest normally. And when you come back from a quest, if you manage to clear the conditions of one of your bounties or your requests, just go back to her and report it, and you'll get your points and your armor spheres. Sounds pretty cool, right? Now, they are going to be doing download bounties. These are special online ones that they're going to be distributing throughout the game. These do have a time limit though. For example, down here it does say that you downloaded some bounties. There's only 1 day left. One of them is kill an Anjanath, and one of them is a great Jagras. One of them is do this, like kill a flying wyvern, and all sorts of stuff. So these are fun sort of like daily quests, you can almost consider them. I don't know if it's going to be daily, but they're going to be limited time bounties that you can do that will also earn you armor spheres and research points. Now, the ones that they distribute online, because they are limited in their time to do them, they do offer higher rewards, so this is fun. I like the idea of being able to go into the game and there's always a top list of, hey, if you need a priority and you don't care about advancing the story, or you're already done with the story, here's a bunch of goals that you can go through and get some really cool items. So I definitely like this system. Okay, going on to the next page, we're talking about important bounties, and these are pretty much key quests in the game that don't really move the story, but unlock very pivotal things in your facilities or abilities in the game. So one of the examples they're giving here is, now we all played the beta, I hope, or you watched the beta, you'll know that there's a lot of different base camps throughout the ancient forest. Well, it doesn't appear like they're unlocked at first. These are things that you have to earn, which I love. So you might find, like, for example, the forest camp. The problem is the hunter will tell you here, hey, we found a perfect place for a camp, but we got this Kuluyaku who's in our way. Can you please take him down? So you take on the bounty, you kill Kuluyaku. This poor thing, it just wants to steal eggs and stuff, man. But you gotta take it down, take down the Kuluyaku, and you will unlock the ability for them to build their new base camp, which is great, of course, because when you start a quest, you can always select from any of the camps that you've managed to unlock. So these important bounties, these are quests that you're gonna want to do. Okay, this next page really excites me because this is a pretty cool system. Take something like the guild quest system from 4, but not all the broken relics. It's pretty cool. Check this out. So as you're playing in the game, as you break monster parts, you find like a rare drop item or whatever, so not, you have the ability to randomly generate a research report. If you take this report and you give it back to the research center, they will generate a quest based on the instance of the map you were in. For example, like the monsters that are in it, let's say there was a Puke Puke, maybe you get a research quest to take down the Puke Puke. Now the cool thing about these quests is, although they are limited, like you can only do them 5 times or something like that, they're very different from regular quests in that they have different conditions. For example, this hunter managed to get a quest from the ancient forest which says to take down a Puke Puke, which is great because you know you're guaranteed to run into that monster. The beta, I don't know if that's meant to be that rare. But these quests have special conditions. For example, this one, you cart 2 times, you're out, where normally it's 3. You have to take down the monster, you get special time limits, you get, hunter rank limits and all that kind of stuff. But if you manage to clear it, if you see down here, there's a special item sort of like bracket. These quests are going to net you more items and a higher chance at a rare item than a normal quest. So let's say you're out exploring and you find a quest for Puke Puke. You can then call your friends and say, dudes, I got a research quest, let's do it. This will give you a higher chance of getting a rare item. So this makes every single player online a valuable teammate because all players are going to have a certain amount of research quests with them that they can bring to the team, and everybody is going to appreciate it when you post your quest because it gives them the opportunity for more rare parts. So this is a great system to make every hunter count and feel special, but the fact that they're limiting it to a certain amount of times and also not giving you some weird crazy overblown weapon like they did in Monster Hunter 4, that's cool. Over here they're just showing off the new guild card system, looking really fancy. For those of you who are new to the series, you always have sort of like a business card. It's your guild card. It's got a picture, a background, and a pose that you're able to customize and choose, and you sort of share it with players that you run in online. Now, they don't talk about it here, but there's usually a system where if you hunt with people who you have a registered guild card for, you might get extra points for something. But it is a very fun way to just share a business card, so to say, with people that you meet. You could see like how many times they killed a monster, and it's really fun. And up here they're just showing up some renders now for, of course, the Rathian and Diablos, looking very snazzy. So let's go on to the next page. Okay, and here we are on the last two pages. This one up here is just talking about the villager delivery request. So for those of you who are new to this series, every so often there will be someone in town that'll post a request. They'll say like, look, I need certain mushrooms, or I need this done, or I need points. And if you just manage to collect those and just deliver them, then you'll upgrade one of your facilities. For example, if you want to upgrade your kitchen, maybe the chef will say, I need this, I need that. So if you do it, it's just ways that you can always check on your sort of sub-targets for upgrading the game, so to say. So very nice to see that the system's back. I don't think anybody had any problem with it. I always think it was a nice sub-goal to find out when you go to her that, hey, I've actually completed a bunch of stuff because I've just been randomly hunting. Let's go and buff up Astera. That's cool. So here they're just talking about, if you do delivery quests, you'll get more items for the kitchen, which of course means different types of food, and more food means better buffs. So definitely want to do this if you want to have really strong buffs at the start of a quest, or even in the middle, because you can now eat during a quest, which is awesome. And over here we just have an interview. I'm not going to go over everything because a lot of the interview is just talking about the obvious stuff, like, oh yeah, this guy is really interesting, isn't he? But the real points of interest, I think, down here is down here. They say that during the event of PlayStation Experience, you did mention that you'll have event quests and DLC planned after launch. Can you tell us about that? And they said, because we want players to be able to really enjoy this game for a long time, we have several free updates planned. They say several, so this is not just like one or two. This is probably a little bit more. They've got several updates that they plan. They give an example. They say, for example, a few months after launch, we might add a new monster and updates like that. We just want to have those, and also we'll be doing free online quests periodically, which we'll be delivering to people so that there's always something new to do, and it's going to be free for everybody. So they said that, the free updates are going to be kind of like all the event quests, but a little bit better. Again, because they mentioned they're going to add in like a new monster through a free update. That's something that they've never done, but with the power of next generation, they can actually make that possible. Then they ask, they even say that, we do have some paid content planned for purely cosmetic stuff that does not affect your strength, your abilities, anything about the game, purely cosmetic stuff. They go into a little bit more detail. They say, well, like the handler, maybe there's going to be like some outfits for her that if people really want it, they could pay some money to get them. That would be kind of nice. And I see this as fine because they're going to be offering free game updates, right, for like probably a year, because that's usually how they do it, where they're going to be adding in like probably new monsters, perhaps like huge event quests and all sorts of stuff. They've got to be able to pay for that, right? So I think the heavy tankers who really like the game, who just want to buy a little few outfits for some NPC character, like there's no crime in that, okay? Like, I don't care if you are religious about DLC being free, that's fine in my opinion, because the amount of operation that they're going to be given this title is going to be crazy. And of course, the Monster Hunter team has an awesome track record with always never ever touching anything that affects gameplay when it comes to paid stuff. So I trust these guys, and you should too. Anyways, that's really all the news that they have left. They talked a little bit about the Mega Man collaboration, and that they will actually have 14 songs. So for every single weapon you do, there's going to be another Mega Man sort of theme song that plays. But they'll be sharing more details, I think, at a later time for that. Anyways, that's all the news in the Famitsu. I love the screenshots. I love everything about this game. Like, I'm really hyped, as you can tell. And I hope you guys are too. Hope you guys enjoyed this video on the Famitsu issue, and until next time, happy hunting.